You are not late. And you were never at the beginning. What you have been calling wasted years, the closed doors, the season not long ago when you almost let go of the part of you that still believed you were meant for more. That was never the start of your story. It was the 90%, chosen one. Only 3 people will ever sit with this exact message, and something in me already knows you are one of them. Not because you are ready, because you are close. People do not turn back at the start of the road. They turn back one single step from the threshold, because no one ever told them how far they had already come. You were never far. You were almost through. And the reason this reached you tonight, and not a year ago, and not a year from now, is that you arrived at the one window where the last step is actually within reach. I want to be honest with you about what this message is and what it is going to give you, because you have been promised things before and left holding nothing. So here is what you will walk away with tonight, and I want you to hold me to all 3. You will understand why nothing has clicked no matter how hard you tried, and it is not the reason you have been told your whole life. You will feel, maybe for the first time in a very long while, the specific relief of realizing you are not starting over from zero. And you will hold something practical in your hands, a real thing you can do, not a vague encouragement that sounds beautiful tonight and dissolves by morning. Let me give you a taste of it right now, before we go any further, because I do not believe you should have to wait to be shown you are in the right place. Think about the last time you decided to truly change your life. You felt the surge. The clarity arrived like a clean wind. And then within a few short days it thinned out into the same old fog, and you quietly blamed yourself for lacking discipline, for not wanting it badly enough. Here is the part almost no one will ever name for you. That collapse was not weakness. It was a mechanism. There is a specific and nameable reason the insight never turned into movement, and it does not live in your willpower. It lives in a place you have not been taught to look yet. I am not going to fully open that place yet. That comes later, and when it does, it will change how you see every failed start you have ever had. But feel the small loosening in your chest just from hearing that it was never a matter of you being broken. That loosening is real. It is the first honest inch of a door you have been standing in front of longer than you know, because that is the truth I most need you to sit with before we go deeper. You are not at the foot of the mountain looking up. You are near the summit in fog so thick you cannot see 3 feet ahead, convinced you have barely begun. Everything that did not work was not the climb failing. It was the climb almost finishing. And the only reason it has not felt like arrival is that the very last stretch runs through fog and no one handed you a light. Before we take another step, do something for me. In the comments below, write 2 words, still here, not for me, for you. Because the ones who name where they are standing out loud are the ones who cross, and the ones who stay silent talk themselves back down the mountain. So, write it, still here, and then stay close, because what comes next is the part that turns all of this from something you merely understand into something you finally begin to live. So, let me tell you how I know you are one of the 3, not as flattery, as recognition. There are markers that show up in a person who has crossed the 90% without realizing it, and they are almost the opposite of what you would expect. Most people think the ones who are close feel confident. They do not. They feel the strange ache of someone standing near a door they cannot yet see. The first marker is that you are tired in a way that rest does not fix. This is not the tiredness of laziness. It is the tiredness of a person who has been carrying something heavy uphill for years and is close enough to the top that their body has started to wonder why they have not been allowed to set it down. That fatigue is not a sign you are failing. It is a sign you have been climbing far longer than you have given yourself permission to admit. The second marker is that the old comforts have stopped working. The distractions you used to numb yourself do not numb you anymore. The small pleasures feel thinner. People mistake this for depression, and sometimes they medicate the very signal that is trying to move them. But when you are near the threshold, life stops letting you settle for less, because settling would mean turning around one step from everything you were made for. The third marker is the flashes. You get these sudden, uninvited moments of clarity, a knowing that arrives fully formed and then vanishes before you can hold it. A sense of what you are supposed to do, who you are supposed to become, gone in seconds. Those flashes are not random. They are the summit becoming briefly visible through the fog. You are not imagining them. You are seeing where you already are. The fourth marker is that ordinary timelines have started to feel wrong. Advice that works for other people does not fit you. Plans that should take years feel like they should have happened already, and you cannot explain the impatience. That is because you are not measuring your life by the clock on the wall anymore. Some deeper part of you knows you are in a different kind of time now, the kind that only opens for a season. And the fifth marker is the one that brought you here, a quiet, stubborn refusal to fully give up, even after every reason to. You have tried to let the dream die. It will not die. You have called yourself foolish for still hoping. The hope outlasts the insult every time. That refusal is not delusion, chosen one. It is the deepest part of you refusing to turn back one step from the summit. There is a sixth thing I did not name, and I saved it because it is the most telling of all. You have started to feel a quiet contempt for wasted potential, your own and everyone else. It irritates you now in a way it did not before. Watching people, including yourself, shrink from what they could be has become almost physically uncomfortable. That is not bitterness. That is the summit calling to you. People who are far from the threshold feel nothing about wasted potential. Only the ones who are close feel the ache of it because they can smell how near the top actually is. Here is the single truth this entire message circles, and I want to say it plainly so you can carry it. Being one of the three does not mean you have to start becoming someone new. It means you are standing at the final threshold of a genius that was always yours. And the one thing still missing is not more effort or more years. It is a reactivation. And the window to reach for it is not somewhere ahead of you that you must earn your way to. It is open now. That is not a coincidence you should overlook. It is the entire reason this found you tonight. Now I need to take you into the thing itself, the reason nothing has clicked, because until you see it clearly, you will keep blaming the one person who was never at fault, you. Every time a beginning collapsed, every time the motivation drained out, you filed it under the same story. I am not disciplined enough. I do not want it badly enough. Something is wrong with me. I want to take that story out of your hands tonight and show you what was actually happening. Here is what almost no one understands about being close. The nearer you get to the threshold, the harder the fog becomes, not the easier. This is not cruelty. It is design. The last stretch of any real transformation is the one that cannot be crossed with the same tools that got you through the first 90%. Effort got you up the mountain. Effort alone cannot get you through the final fog, because the final fog is not a problem of effort. It is a problem of alignment, and no amount of pushing fixes a thing that pushing was never meant to fix. Think of it like this. Imagine two rooms inside you, and a door between them that has slowly swung shut over the course of your life. In one room lives everything you know how to do, everything logical and learned and effortful. In the other room lives the part of you that simply knows, the part that creates without strain, that sees whole answers at once, that moves with a kind of ease you can barely remember. When you were a child, that door stood wide open. The two rooms were one room. You did not try to be brilliant, you simply were. And then, slowly, without anyone meaning any harm, the door closed. School rewarded one room and starved the other. Survival demanded effort and had no patience for ease. Year by year, the door narrowed until most people reach adulthood with it shut so completely they forget the second room was ever there. They spend the rest of their lives trying to force from one room what was only ever possible when both rooms were open. That is the fog. That is the last 10%, not a lack of trying, a door that quietly closed. I am going to give this its name because naming it changes how you see everything. The closed door. Every failed start, every insight that would not become action, every surge of clarity that drained away was the same closed door, turning your effort into exhaust. You were pouring fuel into an engine that was only firing on half its cylinders and then hating yourself for how little distance you covered. Feel what happens in your body when you understand that. The self-blame has nowhere to stand anymore. You were not lazy. You were not weak. You were running a whole life on half a mind and still somehow made it to 90%. Do you understand how strong that actually makes you? Most people could not have come this far with the door shut. You did. And notice what the closed door cost you, that no one ever added up. Not just the projects abandoned and the ideas that slipped away. It cost you your trust in yourself. Every time effort produced exhaust instead of movement, you filed away one more piece of evidence that you could not be relied upon, that your word to yourself meant nothing. That is the cruelest tax of the closed door. It does not only slow you, it slowly convinces you that you are the problem, until you stop making promises to yourself at all because you are tired of breaking them. Tonight I am asking you to reopen that account because the ledger was wrong from the start. And that changes what becomes possible next. Because if the problem was never your effort, then the solution was never more effort. The solution is the door, and a door that closed can open again. Let me show you just how real this door is, because this is not a metaphor I invented to comfort you. It is one of the most quietly documented truths about human beings, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Watch any young child at play. They invent whole worlds without effort. They ask questions no adult would dare. They solve problems sideways. They create without fear. They move through the day in a state of ease that we spend fortunes in adulthood trying to buy back. Researchers who study this describe something startling. At a young age, the overwhelming majority of children test at a level of creative genius. Not most of them at a decent level. The overwhelming majority at genius, and then the same children are tested again years later, and the number has collapsed. By adulthood, fewer than a handful in 1,000 still measure anywhere near where they began. Something happened between those two tests, and it happened to you too. Nobody was cruel. The world simply rewarded one way of thinking and slowly starved the other. The room of effort was praised. The room of ease was told to sit down and be quiet. There is an old word worth sitting with here. In the ancient tongues, the words for breath, spirit, and inspiration were often the same word. To be inspired literally meant to have breath moving through you, something alive and flowing rather than forced. That is what the open door felt like, not strain, breath. And what closed in you was not your intelligence. It was the breath moving freely between the two rooms. You did not get less smart. You got less connected to the part of you that never had to try. So let me take you somewhere for a moment. Close nothing, keep listening, but let a picture form. Imagine waking one ordinary morning a few months from now, and something is different before you even open your eyes. The heaviness that has sat on your chest for years is simply not there. You sit down to the thing you have been avoiding, the work, the words, the decision, and, instead of the familiar wall, there is an opening. Ideas arrive whole. The answer you have been grinding for shows up quietly, as if it had been waiting in the next room the whole time. You are not forcing, you are flowing. And a strange thought crosses your mind, almost funny in how simple it is. Oh, this is what I was like before. This is who I actually am. And here is the detail that should stop you cold. Those brilliant children were not taught to be brilliant. No one gave them a method. Their genius was not added. It was simply not yet subtracted. Which means genius, real genius, is not a rare gift handed to a lucky few. It is the default state of a human being with both halves firing together. It is what remains when nothing has closed the door yet. So when you feel the pull toward more, that is not arrogance, and it is not fantasy. It is the factory setting of your own mind trying to come back online, the standard you were shipped with before the world edited it down. That is not fantasy. That is memory. You are not imagining a stranger. You are remembering yourself with the door open, and here is what I need you to understand about that morning. It is not decades away. It is not something you have to become worthy of through years of suffering. The distance between you and that morning is not effort. It is a single reopening of a door that was only ever closed, never destroyed. That is why the 90% matters. You did the hard part already. What remains is not more building. It is a switch being flipped back to where it began. Now I can already hear the resistance rising in you because you are not naive, and I would not respect you if you swallowed this without a fight. So let us have the fight honestly. Part of you is saying, if it were really just a door, I would have opened it by now. I have tried. I have meditated. I have journaled. I have done the breathing, the affirmations, the sitting in silence until my legs went numb and nothing held. So why should this be any different? That objection is not a weakness in you. It is scar tissue, and it is earned. So let me answer it directly. The reason those methods did not hold is not that they were worthless. It is that most of them were trying to force the door open from the wrong side. They worked on the room you already have access to, the room of effort, and asked it to try harder at not trying. That is a contradiction, and some part of you always felt the strain of it. You were using willpower to manufacture ease, which is like shouting at yourself to relax. The louder you push, the further the door retreats. There is a reason the last stretch feels uniquely impossible, and it is almost cruel in its simplicity. The closed door cannot be forced by the side of you that is doing the forcing. The very effort that carried you through 90% is the exact thing that keeps the final door shut, because effort speaks the language of one room, and the door only responds to both rooms speaking at once. This is why disciplined, hard-working, deeply sincere people can spend years right at the edge and never cross, not because they lack anything, because they keep reaching for the handle with the one hand that cannot turn it. Feel the weight lift as that lands. Every method that failed you did not fail because you are broken. It failed because it was aimed at the wrong room. And that means the failures were not evidence against you. They were evidence you were close enough to keep bumping into the door over and over in the dark, never quite finding the handle. I want to name something else you are carrying because it has been slowing you for a long time. The quiet belief that if this were possible for you, it would have already happened. That belief feels like humility. It is not. It is the closed door wearing a disguise, whispering that your lateness is proof of your limit. But you already know the truth now. Lateness is not limit. Lateness is what 90% feels like from inside the fog. And here is where the timing becomes everything. because a door that has been closed most of your life does not simply drift open on its own schedule. There are seasons when the whole system in you is primed, when the fatigue and the flashes and the refusal to quit all converge into a single readiness. You are in one of those seasons right now. That is not motivational language. It is the reason every marker I named earlier is active in you at the same time. The convergence is the window, and windows, chosen one, were never designed to stay open while you decide whether you deserve to walk through. So let us stay with time for a moment, because I think you have misunderstood your own timeline your entire life, and that misunderstanding has cost you more than any failure ever did. You have been measuring yourself against ordinary time, the calendar, the age you thought you would have it figured out by, the people who seem to arrive sooner. Against that clock, you feel perpetually behind, and the feeling gnaws. But there is another kind of time, and the ancients knew it well enough to give it a separate name. Ordinary time is the steady tick of hours, indifferent and endless. The other kind is the rare, charged moment when something that is usually shut swings open, and everything depends on whether you move while it is open. It is not measured in years, it is measured in readiness. And you cannot schedule it, you can only recognize it when it comes. Everything I have described in you, the fatigue that rest will not touch, the comforts that stopped comforting, the flashes of clarity, the impatience with old timelines, the refusal to let the dream die, those are not 5 separate symptoms. They are 5 instruments tuning to the same note. When they all sound at once, you are not in ordinary time anymore. You are in the charged kind, and the reason this matters so much is that these windows do not stay open indefinitely. The convergence that primes you can pass. The fatigue can harden into resignation. The flashes can grow further apart until you stop noticing them. Not because the door was taken from you, because you waited at an open door long enough for the fog to convince you it was a wall. I do not say that to frighten you. Fear is the wrong fuel and it burns dirty. I say it because you deserve to know that this moment is not neutral. Something in your life is tilting right now, and you can feel the tilt, which is exactly why an ordinary message from a stranger has held you this long. That is not an accident. That is recognition meeting its moment. And here is the turn I need you to catch, because most people miss it and settle for a fraction of what was offered. You might think that understanding all of this is the destination, that seeing the door, naming it, forgiving yourself, is the arrival. It is not. It is the halfway point. Insight is not the crossing. If understanding alone were enough, you would have crossed years ago, because some part of you has always half known this. We are only halfway up what matters, and the largest part is still ahead, the part where understanding actually becomes the flipped switch, where the door does not just get named, but opened. So before we go there, mark this moment. In the comments, write 3 words: the door opens. Not as a wish, as a declaration of where you are standing, because the ones who speak it are the ones who reach for the handle, and the ones who stay silent describe the door forever without ever touching it. Write it. The door opens. And then come with me, because I am about to show you exactly what flips the switch, and why the thing that reopens the door was never going to be one more act of trying harder. So here is the question that has been sitting underneath this entire message, the one you have maybe never been able to answer. Why does knowing all of this still not produce movement? Why does the insight stay as insight and refuse to become action? You have understood things before. Understanding was never your shortage. The answer is not in your mind. It is somewhere you have not been taught to look, and we are about to look there together. Let me set aside every image and metaphor now, and just tell you plainly what is happening, in the simplest language I have. because you have earned clarity over poetry. Here is the why. Your brain is made of two halves that are meant to work as one. One half handles logic, language, sequence, effort. The other handles pattern, intuition, wholeness, ease. In a child, the two halves fire together, constantly, fluidly, and that combined firing is what genius actually is. It is not one gifted half. It is the bridge between them, lit up and busy. That is the open door I have been describing. Two halves, working as one. Here is the what. Over years of one-sided living, that bridge goes quiet. The halves stop synchronizing. You end up running your whole life on the effortful half, while the intuitive half sits in the next room, dimmed and idle. Everything you experience is being stuck. The insight that will not move, the surge that drains away, the trying that produces exhaust instead of motion, all of it traces back to that one thing. The two halves are no longer firing together. The bridge is dark, and no amount of pushing the logical half harder can light a bridge, because a bridge is not lit by one side straining. It is lit by both sides synchronizing. And here is the who. This does not happen to everyone, or rather, it does not resolve for everyone. Most people never even learn the bridge exists. But a rare few reach a season where every part of them is aching for the halves to rejoin, where the fatigue and the flashes and the refusal are all the two halves straining to sync across a dark bridge. That person is not broken. That person is primed. That person is you. The clarity you just received is real. But clarity alone is not the bridge lighting. You now know exactly what has been blocking you. The only question left is what reopens it. And this is where I have to tell you about the one thing that changed this from an idea into something people could actually hold. Because for most of history, relighting that bridge was left to chance, to decades of meditation, to a handful of naturally gifted people who never lost the sync in the first place. Then a neurologist in New York named Dr. Daniel Barone began working with a very specific problem. How do you get two halves of a brain that have stopped talking to synchronize again, on purpose, without decades of effort? The foundation was already there, in Nobel Prize-winning research into the two hemispheres and how they divide their labor. What was missing was a way to gently invite them back into rhythm. What came out of that work is a targeted audio sequence called the Genius Switch. It is not a lecture, and it is not motivation. It is a precisely arranged 8-minute sound sequence built on what is called neural sync technology, designed to do the one thing effort cannot do: coax the two halves of the brain back into firing together, the way they did before the door ever closed. The Genius Switch does not add anything foreign to you. It reconnects what was always yours, the bridge you were born with, the ease you have been trying to force your way back to from the wrong side. Now, I want to be careful here, because you have been sold things before, and the last thing I want is for this to feel like the moment the message turns into a pitch. So let me just tell you the plain shape of it and let you decide what your own knowing says. When colleagues first saw what this sequence could do, several of them said it should be priced like the specialized sessions it quietly replaces, somewhere near $500, and honestly, that would still have been fair for reopening something you were born with. It was not set there. It was placed at $49, already a fraction of its worth. And on the page where this message points, there is a further reduction that brings it to $39. I want you to hold that number against what it stands in for. People spend years and small fortunes chasing the state this restores. In-person neurofeedback sessions can run into the thousands. Retreats, programs, endless courses. This is the cost of a quiet dinner, for the reopening of the door the rest of them were circling. And it comes with something that tells you everything about the confidence behind it. A full money-back guarantee, with no condition about how many times you have listened. If the bridge does not begin to relight for you, you are not out anything. The only thing being asked of you is willingness, not risk. There is a reason you will not find this on the usual shelves, not on the giant retail sites, not on the streaming services, not scattered across the open internet. It is kept to a single official source on purpose, because the moment something like this gets copied and diluted and repackaged by people who do not understand the mechanism, it stops working and starts becoming noise. So, if you go looking for a shortcut version elsewhere, understand that what you find will not be this. The real thing lives in one place, and the link to it sits in the description and in the pinned comment beneath this message. And I should tell you why I trust the ground it stands on. This is not built on a trend. It is built on decades of serious study into the two hemispheres of the brain, the same body of work that earned a Nobel Prize for showing how the halves divide and coordinate their labor. The technology simply takes what that research uncovered and turns it into something you can actually use in 8 passive minutes, instead of a laboratory you will never have access to. Science underneath, and something older and quieter resting on top of it. A woman from California wrote in after using it. She said that for years she had felt like she was watching her own life through fogged glass, always one thought behind where she wanted to be. Within a few days of listening, she described the fog simply thinning, ideas arriving before she reached for them, a lightness she had not felt since she was young. She did not call it magic. She called it remembering. That word again, because that is what this is. Not becoming someone new. Remembering who you were with the door open. So here is all I will ask, and then I will let it rest. If something in you has been quietly nodding this whole time, if the knowing in your chest is leaning toward yes, then follow it while the leaning is fresh. The link is in the description below and in the pinned comment. Go and look, not because I am pushing, but because you already crossed the 90%. And this is the last step you have been circling for years. If your spirit resonates, you will know. And if it does not, you have still been handed something true tonight, and it is yours to keep. Now let me take you to the deepest part of this, the thing I have been holding until you were ready, because it is bigger than everything I have said so far, and if I had led with it, you would not have believed me. Everything up to now has been about capability, about the fog lifting, the ideas flowing, the work becoming lighter, and that alone would be worth every step. But that is not actually why the door closing hurt you so much. That is not why the ache goes as deep as it does. Here is the truth underneath the truth. The two halves firing together is not just how you do brilliant work. It is how you hear your own life. The intuitive half, the one that went quiet, is the half that holds your sense of meaning, your knowing of what you are for, the quiet compass that points at the thing only you were shaped to do. When the bridge went dark, you did not just lose ease. You lost the signal. You have spent years unable to fully hear the one voice that could tell you why you are here, and then you blamed yourself for feeling lost, when the truth is, you were simply cut off from your own reception. Sit with what that means. Every time you have felt directionless, every time you have watched other people move with a certainty you could not find, it was not that they had a purpose, and you did not. It was that their bridge was carrying the signal and yours was straining across the dark. Your purpose did not leave. Your ability to hear it dimmed. And the reopening of that door is not merely the return of your creativity. It is the return of your ability to hear what you are for. That is the real crossing. Not becoming more productive, becoming reconnected to the reason you exist. So let a fuller picture form now, and let it be as specific as you can bear. Imagine a season, not far ahead, where you wake already knowing what the day is for. Not anxious, not scattered, but pointed. The work you do carries your actual fingerprint, because it is finally coming from both halves of you at once, and people feel the difference without being able to name it. Your relationships change because you stop reaching for others out of the fog of your own emptiness and start meeting them from fullness. The people who love you notice a steadiness returning to your eyes. And the calling you buried, the one you decided was childish or too late, quietly stands back up, because the half of you that always believed in it is finally lit again and speaking. That is what stands on the other side of the door. Not a better version of the stuck life, a different life entirely. The one that was always yours before the bridge went dark. And this is why I have been so unwilling to let you settle for merely understanding tonight. Understanding is standing at the door, describing what is behind it. Crossing is walking through. The whole point of relighting the bridge, whether through the quiet work of years or through the sequence that was built to do it in 8 minutes a day, is not to make you impressive. It is to give you back the voice that tells you who you are and why you came. And think about what that means for every relationship you have ever strained. So much of the distance between you and the people you love was never a failure of the heart. It was the fog. You could not fully show up because you were only half present to your own life, half cut off from the signal that tells a person who they are. When the bridge relights, you do not just create differently. You love differently, because you finally arrive in the room as a whole person instead of a tired fragment straining to be enough. The people around you will not be able to explain what changed. They will only feel that you came home. You have carried the ache of that silence long enough, and the reason it aches at all is proof the signal is still there, still trying to reach you, still waiting on the other side of a door that was only ever closed, never gone, never destroyed. Just waiting for the two halves to remember each other. So before this message ends, I am going to do something with you, not just say something to you. Because you have received enough understanding tonight to last a year, and understanding was never your shortage. What I want to give you now is a taste of the crossing itself, a small first flicker of the bridge, right here in the next few breaths. So, wherever you are, let your shoulders drop. You do not need to close your eyes if you cannot. Just let your attention come home to your own body for a moment. Now breathe in slowly, and as you do, I want you to picture the door, not as an idea, as a real thing. A door inside you, standing between the effortful room where you have been living and the quiet room where the rest of you has been waiting. See it exactly as it is right now, mostly closed, a thin line of light leaking around its edges. That light is the half of you that never went dark. It has been leaking through the whole time. That is what those flashes of clarity were. Light around the edges of a door. Breathe in again, and this time, on the exhale, let the door move. Just an inch. Do not force it. Forcing is the old room straining, and you are done reaching with the hand that cannot turn the handle. Instead, simply allow it, the way you allow your own breath to leave without pushing it. Feel the light widen just slightly, and with it, a small warmth moving into the effortful room that has been cold and tight for so long. That warmth is the two halves saying hello across the bridge. Now here is the reframe I want you to carry out of this moment, and I want you to say it inside yourself as if it were already true. I am not behind. I am not broken. I am one step from a door that was always mine, and it is opening. Say it once more slowly, and let your body feel the difference between forcing and allowing. That difference you can feel right now, that quiet loosening in your chest, that is not imagination. That is the somatic memory of who you are, with the door open. Your body has not forgotten. It never forgot. Hold on to that sensation, because that is the anchor. Anytime the fog rolls back in over the coming days, and it will, because old rooms do not surrender in a single night, you can return to that exact feeling, that small warmth, that inch of movement. That is the bridge remembering its own weight. And if you choose to help it along with the 8-minute sequence that was built to relight it on purpose, what the genius switch does is simply hold that door open long enough, day after day, for the two halves to stop needing to be reminded and start firing together on their own again. But even without anything else, you have already felt the door move tonight. That inch was real. And let me tell you why that guarded inch matters more than any grand resolution you could make tonight. Grand resolutions live in the effortful room, and the effortful room cannot hold them, which is exactly why every dramatic vow you have ever made dissolved. But a felt sensation in the body lives in the other room, the one that never forgets. That is why I did not ask you to promise me anything. I asked you to feel 1 inch of open door. Feelings anchored in the body are the only things that survive the fog, and they compound. 1 remembered inch tomorrow becomes 2, and 2 becomes a door that no longer needs convincing. And I need you to guard that inch, because here is what the fog will try to do the moment this message ends. It will tell you that what you felt was just a nice moment, that tomorrow is the same as yesterday, that the door drifted shut again, and you imagined the light. Do not believe it. A door that has moved once does not lock the way it was. You have crossed something small but genuine tonight, and small genuine crossings are how the last 10% actually gets walked. Not in one heroic leap, in inches that refuse to close. So let us close this the way it deserves to be closed. Not with a summary, but with something spoken over your life, because you came all this way. And the ones who reach the end of a message like this are never the same 3 who began it. Let me be still with you for a breath first. No striving in this moment. Nothing to fix, nothing to earn, nothing to prove to anyone, including yourself. Just the quiet acknowledgement of what is true. You climbed further than anyone saw. You kept a small flame alive through seasons that should have put it out. You refused to turn back 1 step from the summit, even when every reason told you to. That is not nothing. That is the rarest kind of faithfulness there is, the kind that keeps walking in fog with no proof the top is near. Let yourself be witnessed in that for a moment. You have been so busy judging your slowness that no one, least of all you, ever stopped to honor your endurance. And now, let it go. Everything the closed door made you carry, set it down here. Release the belief that you are behind. Release the years of blaming yourself for a mechanism you did not cause. Release the voice that called your lateness a limit. Release the exhaustion of forcing a door that was never opened by force. Release the shame of every collapsed beginning. Release the fear that the window will close before you are worthy. Release the story that you are the one person for whom this does not work. Release the fog itself, the whole gray weight of it. Breathe it out and let it fall away from your chest. Release it. It was never the truth of you. It was only weather passing over a summit you already reached, and now, from that lighter place, hear who you actually are, and say it with me, not as a wish but as a fact returning to its owner. I am not behind. I am arriving. I am not broken. I am nearly whole. I am not starting over. I am one step from a door that was always mine. I am the rare one who kept climbing. I am the two halves, remembering each other. I am the signal returning to the one who never stopped listening. I am standing in the open window, and I am not waiting anymore. Chosen one, if everything in you is leaning toward the crossing tonight, then let this be the moment you stop describing the door and put your hand on it. Whatever your next step is, take it while the leaning is warm. If the path forward is the sequence that reopens the bridge, the way is in the description below and in the pinned comment. And you already know whether your spirit is saying yes, Do not let the fog talk you back down the mountain before morning. Move while the window is open, because it opened for you now. And windows like this one do not stay open while you decide whether you deserve them. You were one of only 3 who would ever receive this. Now you know why. Not because you were the most ready. Because you were the closest. And the closest are the ones who most need to be told they are almost home. So carry that inch of open door with you. Guard it. Return to it. And let the last 10% be walked, not in fear of falling behind, but in the quiet certainty of someone who finally understands they were never at the beginning. You were always almost there, and so it is.